Colton, I'm an accounting major.
I'm Brianna, I'm a marketing major.
I'm David, I'm a CIS major.
And I'm Josh, I'm a management major.
So we're Team Chester, and we're a sensor manufacturing company with markets including traditional, low-end, high-end, performance, and SaaS.
So at first we were doing a broad differentiation strategy, so we were focusing on becoming a better product than our competitors in most or all of the markets. We were also trying to gain a high market share through the utilization of customer awareness and accessibility. But even though we did this broad differentiation strategy throughout the simulation, I think it's important to note that we weren't broad differentiation from the get-go. For the first 2 rounds, we were niche cost. But we decided to change that because we ended up having a high market presence in all of the segments. So we decided we should take advantage of that. So we changed it, and it changed our, performance throughout the game, but it ended up working out pretty well.
Speaking about our performance, after 8 years, we had a final balance scorecard of 727 out of 1,000. Our final stock price was 131.98, which put us in second place for stock price. Final EPS was 13.48, and PE was 9.8. Overall, based on the balance scorecard and other metrics, we were the second best performing team.
So we feel our environment was extremely competitive. We had 6 companies beginning with the exact same starting position with all the same resources and going on the same market share. So it was hard to get an early lead, but once we did, we kind of just flowed with it and let all of our team members focus their expertise on a certain thing we felt was best suited for them, and we just kind of flowed from there.
So our business level strategy, or what was our niche, was that we were broad differentiation, so we have presence in all the markets. We were focusing on staying on the cutting edge of R&D for each product, which was helped by using TQM to keep our costs low and R&D times relatively quick. We also focused on high awareness and accessibility to keep our demand high and just to keep the customers wanting more for each of our products.
And as for our corporate level strategy and our orientation towards growth, we were constantly aspiring to grow for the entire simulation. So we never wanted to reach that retrenchment stage. We were constantly staying competitive and looking at what other teams were doing so that we could do so. And for what markets we competed in, since we had that broad differentiation strategy, we were in all of the markets. So this kind of made it necessary to look at the external environment to see what other companies were doing and how we could compete and stay on top of the simulation.
Our strategy supported our business and corporate level strategies in a lot of ways. In R&D, we wanted to make sure that we had enough cash to keep R&D on point with customer demands. As a part of our broad differentiation strategy, we really wanted to make sure in all markets our products were not only there, but also desirable to customers. By doing this, we were able to gain a lot of market share in these customers and keep up with these products. In marketing, we spent a lot of money on the sales and promo budgets, which resulted in us having really high customer accessibility and awareness, which was really key in order for our strategy to succeed. For production, we kept it mostly online as far as the marketing forecast, but we also would produce a little bit more than we forecasted on the offhand chance that we would try and capture a little more market share than we had originally projected. For HR, we maximized training hours in order to improve employee productivity. And in finance, we tried to keep a good cash balance. The only round in which we really failed this was the round we got an emergency loan, which we're going to talk about a little bit later. For TQM, we tried to keep our cost structure as lean as possible. We used green programs to increase demand and generally tried to increase our contribution margin. This was one of our less effective areas and an area in which our main competitor, Andrews, really exceeded in. But we still felt like with our TQM expenditures, we really did improve the overall production and general customer desirability of our company.
So a little bit about our core competencies. We feel our highest core competency was responsiveness and the adaptation to the market. We had a heavy focus on accessing the outcomes of each round, which every team really did because every team succeeded in some way. But a lot of teams in the beginning were underselling, and we capitalized on this by focusing on the stockouts, and we lowered that, and we sacrificed a little bit for the inventory carrying costs. We got a lot more profits that way too. We were also able to leverage all the data available to us, which helped us in making all these decisions. And though all the teams actively responded to the market, we felt our team's educational background enabled us to utilize the Capsim data a little better than other teams.
One of our falters that really challenged our firm was the emergency loan that we had in round 5, I believe. It was due to the fact that we upped our automation on each of our product lines. Because of that, it really slowed down our R&D times, and because of that, our products weren't where the customers wanted them until the very end of the year, so we ended up losing a lot of sales. But we were able to come back from that the next year now that our R&D times were back on point and our automation was up. We had a higher contribution margin on all of our lines, and we turned a huge profit and more than doubled our stock price. Another falter that challenged our firm was how well Andrews did throughout the competition, especially when they offered a new product in the high-end line. Took a lot of the market share there, and we did anticipate that happening and weren't ready for the loss, so that hurt.
In addition to that, I think one other thing that really affected us more in the practice rounds and the final simulation was we weren't really utilizing TQM in the practice rounds as effectively as we should have. And that was definitely a lesson that we learned for the final simulation, is that TQM is actually really important. And we kind of pushed it a little to the side too much more than we should have because it didn't become available until later. And by utilizing it more in the final simulation, we really were able to help get our cost structure a little bit better than it was in the practice rounds.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, throughout the simulation, we learned a lot, but we definitely took away some new insights that we learned from this that we hadn't really realized before. So, I think that one of the most important ones was keeping a close eye on competitors and try to imagine the strategy that they're pursuing so that we could try to better combat that strategy. Even during the practice rounds, we weren't really thinking about competitors and what they were trying to do. We were more focused on ourselves, but you have to really try to visualize the external environment and figure out what other people are doing. Because if you're going to be able to compete, then you have to, think about that stuff.
Another problem that we had was we learned that you really have to stay ahead of the market as opposed to being with the market. This is something that I think Andrews did really well. They were the first and only team to introduce a new product into a market, and we were just kind of on the back burner of that. We were trying really hard and actually doing very well at keeping up with the market, as demonstrated by our second place position, but we didn't necessarily lead the market in any segment, which I think is something that we could have definitely taken away from this and done better next time.
So something else that we learned during the simulation was don't always be afraid of issuing debt and getting equity, because as long as your strategy is productive and you're making money still, you should be able to pay back that debt when it comes time. And you can use a lot of that money to invest in new things like plant improvements and the promo and sales budgets.
We also learned that business is a team effort. You have to learn to trust everyone on your team in order to become an effective unit. Having a variety of different backgrounds and perspectives is an advantage, not a constraint. We were all from different majors, so that really helped. We felt that our mutual trust and perspectives is an advantage and not a constraint. We felt that our mutual trust and differing backgrounds enabled our team to make enlightened decisions that took into consideration multiple strategic perspectives.
I think also we learned that failure doesn't mean that the whole game is over. I know that all of us were really upset when we got that emergency loan, and instead of just thinking that we were done and we couldn't compete anymore, it was really nice to know that we could still get that edge even with that loan. It's actually a really good learning and growing type of environment. So overall, I think we had a good time and we learned a lot. Thanks for a good semester.
Definitely, thank you.
Thank you.